Hey guys, how you doing? JP Saricolia here. As we celebrate a Black History Month, and as you know, I'm a big fan of comics and the history of comics, it is important to remember that there has been many black superheroes over the years, many of them, but only a few can be considered the most influential and the most powerful, and they continue to build a legacy up to this date. So in this video today, I want to share with you my top 10 black superheroes, those who I consider the most important, the most iconic. And I want to share with you also those storylines and the collections that you should read, because they are the ones that will give you a better understanding of these characters and their rich history. So in the next couple of minutes, stay tuned. Number 10, James Rhodes, War Machine. War Machine has been in comics for a very long time. He was introduced in Iron Man 118 and back in 1979. The issue written by David Michelinie, John Byrne, and also Bob Layton. And the character has always been very, very popular. He was originally a sidekick. As a roadie, he was just there, a friend of Tony Stark, until on issue 169 to issue 199, back in 1983, he actually wore for the first time the Iron Man suit, which was a fantastic time. Definitely a very good collection there. And then he went into the West Coast Avengers. He was on the original first 4 issues by Roger Stern and Bob Hall. Also back in Iron Man, he was on the Stark Wars, a very fantastic time with Bob Layton, David Michelinie. Then on Iron Man issue 284 back in 1992, the War Machine suit was created, and it was the introduction of that, and the character became popular then. The suit was popular. It was in video games, it was in cartoons. There was even a solo run, War Machine solo run, that lasted 25 issues at the end of West Coast Avengers. And since then, you know, War Machine has been really an active character in the Marvel Universe and through the Avengers throughout the years and different iterations. Now, if you're interested on knowing more about the character, I would recommend to you the Epic Collections. Those are the best ways to read the character. You have The Enemy Within, Duel of Iron, Stark Wars, War Machine. Those are the books that will give you information about the character. Also, the West Coast Avengers Omnibus, if you can find it. Then you can go into the 90s stuff. You got the War Machine Classic Volume 1. And also the Iron Man War Machine Hands of the Mandarin. That will be the continuation, the second part of that run. Secret Invasion War Machine. Some people don't like it. That's the newer stuff, but it concentrates primarily on the character. And also you can read the War Machine from 2008 to 2010 Volume 1 and Volume 2. Number 9, Victor Stone, Cyborg. Cyborg has been a very influential character in the DC side. He started back in DC Comics Presents number 26 back in 1980. And then, of course, went into the New Teen Titans. And he was part of the New Teen Titans from pretty much the entire story of the run, and the different runs, because he had different iterations from 1980 all the way to 1996. Of course, he was the New Teen Titans, the Tales of the New Teen Titans. Then he went back to be the New Teen Titans, and then the New Titans, and all of that. So it's been so many different names. He was a member, original member. Then he was a mentor. So he's been involved in so much stuff. Then in the 2000s, we got the Teen Titans cartoon that was very fantastic. I love it. I love the representation of the Teen Titans on this show. Really good. And the character has always been very popular. And of course, in the New 52, he's a founding member of the Justice League, and he has been involved in the Justice League, also in the DC Rebirth with Scott Snyder. And he is in the current Justice League also, and the Justice League Odyssey. So he's always been there. Wherever you go, you see Cyborg in the DC universe. Now, if you're interested in knowing more about the character and to read about the character, then definitely you need to read the New Teen Titans Omnibus Volume 1 to 5. That will really show you everything you need to know from the beginnings of this character. Also, or you can read the New Teen Titans Volume 1 to 12. You can read Flashpoint, where he's a member there. Of course, it's an alternate universe, but it's still a very good story. The Justice League, the New 52 Omnibus Volume 1. That is actually on pre-order right now, or you can read Volume 1 to 8. You're going to see the involvement of Cyborg. Also, the DC Rebirth Justice League Volume 1 to 7. And the Justice League Odyssey Volume 1 to 3. Number 8, Sam Wilson, The Falcon. Now, the Falcon has been in comics for a very long time. He was introduced in Captain America 117 back in 1969. That makes him the first African-American Black Panther. It's African. So it was the first African-American superhero in mainstream comics. And he was there for a very long time. From issue 134 all the way to issue 222, the book Captain America was rebranded into Captain America and the Falcon. And he was there, the sidekick of Captain America, for a very long time. During the 80s and the 90s, he was a member of the Defenders, the Avengers. Also, he had different solo runs. So he's always been in comics. He worked with Cap from time to time. Now, in recent times, the Falcon has been very important since the run of Captain America by Ed Brubaker. He was a supporting character there, a very good supporting character. He was there through a lot of the events that happened in the aftermath of the death of the Captain America and the return of Captain America. He became the Captain America in All New Captain America. It was a 6-issue miniseries by Rick Remender and Stuart Immonen. Really good. I really like it. A follow-up to all the events that happened. And of course, Captain America, Sam Wilson. That's another one, 25 issues written by Nick Spencer. You know, he's been in so many things now, and of course that's the reason why we're going to watch a show very soon with the Winter Soldier and on the Disney Plus. Now, if you're interested in knowing more about the character from the root, from the beginning, then you need to read the Captain American Omnibus Volume 2 and 3. The third one is on pre-order right now. Also, Captain America by Jack Kirby Omnibus that also includes some of those stories where the Falcon was involved. Also, you can read the Marvel Masterworks Volume 5 to 12. And don't forget the Captain America by Ed Brubaker Omnibus. You know, you got 5 different tomes, you know, amazing stuff. And Captain America, I would recommend you by Rick Remender Omnibus. That one is also on pre-order. That will include all the stuff where Sam Wilson is actually the Captain America. And also you can read Captain America Sam Wilson Volume 1 to 5. Those will give you a lot of the insight on this character that, in my opinion, is one of the best characters, one of the best Black superheroes in comics. Number 7, Blade. The character has been very, very popular. Many consider him one of the most influential, perhaps even the most influential in the cinematic universe, the one that really started the trend. He was introduced back in 1973 on the Tomb of Dracula number 10, and he was a recurring character on that book until the end, until it was canceled. And created by Mark Wolfman and Gene Colan. The character was very different from the version of Wesley Snipes that later on was actually the one that was introduced in comics. But during that time, he was very popular too. He was good. And during the 70s, people really wanted more of the character. During the 80s, he wasn't really known much. There was not much stuff going on with him until the 90s when he made a comeback in the 18 issues of Night Stalkers. A really fantastic 90s collection if you're into the 90s stuff. And during the 90s and the 2000s, he was in so many different miniseries and solo runs, a lot of mediocre stuff, even one done by Don McGregor that was not really that good. Well, it wasn't even finished. I love Don McGregor, but that was not the best story. Now, in recent times, the character has been involved with the Avengers, with S.H.I.E.L.D., also with the X-Men. The 2006 run with Mark Guggenheim was well received. Then he was part of the Captain Britain and the MI-13. 2008-2009 run that was very fun, and he was part of that too. He's been with the Mighty Avengers from 2013-2014 with Al Ewing and Greg Land. I like him. I like Greg Land. You know, sometimes you can hate this art, but in some ways it's very fun art. He was also in the Spirits of Vengeance, War at the Gates of Hell. He was a comeback to pretty much the Spirits of Vengeance, the Night Stalker stuff that he did back in the 90s. And, you know, the character has been in so many things, you know, and to be honest with you, we haven't seen much, but there's an upcoming film as well. And people love the character for some reason. They really love Blade a lot. Now, if you're interested on reading more about the character, then you need to go back to the beginning. So you need to start with Tomb of Dracula Omnibus Volume 1. Also, you need to read Marvel Horror Lives Again Omnibus. Those are where you're going to see all the stories collected in a really nice format. You can also read the Tomb of Dracula Complete Collection, Volume 1 to 4, or Marvel Horror, the Magazine Collection. Those are, if you don't want the omnibuses, those are the trade paperbacks that can help you out. Also read Spirits of Vengeance, Rise of the Midnight Suns. This is the 90s run. You need to read it. You need to read Blade by Mark Guggenheim, the complete collection. I recommend it. Captain Britain, MI13, volume 1 to 3. And the most recent, if you want to know the most recent stuff, go for the Spirits of Vengeance, War at the Gates of Hell. Number 6, Miles Morales is Spider-Man. I'm telling you, in this list, I'm not really a respecter of eras. I love these characters, and I really have to give you the characters that I consider the most iconic and the most influential, and the ones that really steer in the pot. Now, the character was introduced in Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, and in this run that lasted from 2011 to 2013, written by Brian Michael Bendis and the art by Sarah Pichelli. I'm telling you, I love the art. It's very good. It's a great run. The character was inspired on Barack Obama and actor Donald Glover. So it was a mix of that, and they created the character. And then, of course, we went into a Spider-Man, the 2012 run that also was created by the same team. Then we have it on the Spider-Verse crossover, the one that inspired the film, the animated film that is one of the best Spider-Man films, or perhaps the best Spider-Man film of all time, in my opinion. Then we have the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis run. We have the Spider-Man also by Brian Michael Bendis run from 2016 to 2018. And the most recent right now is Miles Morales as Spider-Man, that is still ongoing, with Saladin Ahmed as the writer and fantastic art, Javier Garrón and so many other artists. If you want to know more about Miles Morales and the influence that he has in comics, then I would say you need to read Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, or you can read the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man Ultimate Collection, Volume 1 to 3. That includes the original stuff. Then also I recommend you to read Spider-Verse, the crossover. You can get the collection, or you can get the Miles Morales Spider-Man Volume 1 to 4, which is the newest thing and still ongoing. So they're going to add more volumes. The character is growing, and we're going to see more and more of him as time progresses. Of course, in the PS4 video game, now PS5 video game, he is there, and it's a good game. Number 5, Ultimate Nick Fury. Yes, I have to add Nick Fury right here. And I know a lot of people, and this is controversial, people that grew up like I did. I grew up with the old Nick Fury, actually the original Nick Fury. I love the character. You know, I have no problem with him. But when the Ultimate Nick Fury was introduced, there was something about him, and that really changed the way we saw comics. Of course, the Ultimate Universe is a separate universe from the comics, that the main universe. He was introduced in Ultimate Marvel Team Up number 5 in 2001, written by Brian Michael Bendis and the art of Mike Allred. And he was originally based on the original character of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. He was, of course, African-American, but he still didn't have the look that we have. Then he made some appearances in Ultimate X-Men, and then the Ultimates. The Ultimates was the run that he was really big on, by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch. The resemblance was with Samuel L. Jackson. They took Samuel L. Jackson even before the MCU to bring the character. So that's the reason why Samuel L. Jackson was born to play Nick Fury in the MCU for sure. And then after he was in that really good run, he was part in the Ultimate Spider-Man. All the way till the end, he was a recurring character there. He was in Ultimate Power. He was in The Ultimatum by Brian Michael Bendis. Ultimatum by Jeff Loeb. I would say Ultimatum is not the best thing. I love the art of David Finch there. Then, of course, you got Ultimate Comics Avengers, Mark Millar, and Avengers 2, also by the same writer. You know, the character in the center of everything. When you look at the Ultimate Universe, at the center of everything, he is the part, you know, he is there. He is the mastermind behind a lot of things. He's been in Ultimate Comics Enemy, Mystery, and Doom. Those also were mini-series. They're all involved and they all connect with each other. He's been written by Jonathan Hickman, by Sam Humphries, by so many different people. You know, the guy is all over. You know, it's so important, to the point that people, they perceive him as the main Nick Fury, that they have to, in the main universe, they have to retire the original Nick Fury and his son, in this case, Marcus Johnson, who is also called Nick Fury Jr. He takes the mantle as the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he also has a patch in his eye. So, you know, it's just the connection there. And he becomes a new Nick Fury. There has the resemblance with the Ultimate one, just because people wanted more of this Nick Fury. Now, if you want to know more and read more about the character, then definitely you need to go into the collection of the Ultimate Universe. You have to read the Ultimates Omnibus, or you can read the Ultimates and the Ultimates 2 collections. You can read the Ultimate Power and Ultimatum if you really can digest that. The art is good, the story not so good. The Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1. We really need a Volume 2 so we can continue with the story. Or you can read the 22 regular volume straight paperbacks. Those are another way to read them. You can read Ultimate Comics Avengers by Mark Millar Omnibus. You need to read that. Ultimate Comics Doomsday. Ultimate Comics Ultimates by Jonathan Hickman, Volume 1 to 2. And the Volume 1 by Sam Humphries. I'm telling you, the character is good. Number 4, John Stewart, Green Lantern. Yes, we need to consider John Stewart. John Stewart is the Green Lantern for many that grew up reading the guy. He was introduced in the issue 87 of the second volume of Green Lantern back in 1971, introduced by Dennis O'Neil, Neil Adams. He was on and off during the 70s with the Green Lantern. And in the Justice League, he was there and here and there from time to time. It wasn't until the 80s on Green Lantern 182 and 200 when the character takes the mantle again as the main character, as the main Green Lantern. It was written by Len Wein, Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, Gil Kane, Steve Englehart. All these artists, you know, and writers were involved in the process of bringing this character. Love him. Then, of course, the Green Lantern was changed to the Green Lantern Corps in issue 201-224. That was written by Stephen Englehart and Joe Staton. He was in the Cosmic Odyssey. I recommend that one. It's a mini-series with Jim Starlin and the art of Mike Mignola. He was there as well. He was in Green Lantern Volume 3 in 1990. That was done by Gerard Jones. Unfortunately, that's not available right now because after Gerard Jones was convicted and put in prison for his crimes, you know, by distribution of pornography and all of that, unfortunately, that stuff is no longer on print, even in digital print. But he was at the beginning of that run. After the story arc between issue 14 and 17, he went into his own run, Mosaic, that really lasted, you know, for 18 issues, and also written by Gerard Jones, so you cannot really find it, unfortunately. But it was a very good run. It wasn't bad. It was in the 90s. It was 90s stuff. And then he was a leader for the Dark Stars from issue 21 to issue 38. That was between 1992 and 1996. And I really like it. If you're into 90s stuff, there's no collection, but you can find the digital comics, or you can find the single issues. Perhaps you can find a trade paperback somewhere. But it was fantastic stuff from the 90s. After the events of that, he went back as a Green Lantern by the request of Kyle Rayner on issue 155 and issue 156 back into 2002. But one thing that really helped John Stewart become more popular in pop culture is undeniably the Justice League TV show and the Justice League Unlimited. The guy was there. He was the Green Lantern there, and people really loved the way he was, and that really helped him also to develop into the comics even more. So he was involved in the Green Lantern Rebirth with Jeff Jones, and Jeff Jones used John Stewart in so many aspects of the Green Lantern run that he did for many years. He was also, during that time, part of the Justice Society of America Volume 2. So you saw him involved in so many great storylines: the Sinestro Corps War, the Blackest Night, the Brightest Day, the War of the Green Lantern. So he was there in so many of those storylines, many important aspects of that. He was at the center, a very crucial character. And then, of course, on the New 52, we have the Green Lantern run, the Green Lantern Corps, the Green Lantern Lost Army, the Edge of Oblivion, all those miniseries also, he was there. You know, since pretty much the Jeff Jones run, he has been almost on every aspect of Green Lantern. On the DC Rebirth, he's also another character at the center with Hal Jordan at the Green Lantern Corps. Fantastic run. In the DC Universe, he's now, most recently, he's been involved with the Justice League, and they're still ongoing. He is the Green Lantern there. Now, to know the character more, I would recommend you to read his origin story, first and foremost. You can find that on the Green Lantern, the Green Arrow Absolute or Deluxe version. Or you can just simply read the issue 87. That's all you need to read. Then you need to read Green Lantern Sector 2814, Volume 2 and 3. The Volume 1 only serves for reference, but Volume 2 and 3, he is at the center of that. You can read Tales of the Green Lantern Corps Volume 3 and Green Lantern Corps Volume 1, Beware the Power. That's the 80s stuff, so that's another place for reference to know more about the character during that time. I recommend you to read Cosmic Odyssey Deluxe Edition. He's just in the background as a character, but still part of the Justice League. You can also read Green Lantern and Mosaic by Gerard Jones. Unfortunately, it's out of print. You cannot find it anywhere unless you go to eBay. The Dark Stars, issue 21 to 38. Not collected, but again, it's available digitally. Green Lantern by Jeff Jones, Omnibus Volume 1 to 3. It is at top of my list. It's a high recommendation. You can read the New 52 Green Lantern Corps Volume 1 to 6. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps Volume 1 to 7. The Justice League by Scott Snyder Deluxe Edition Volume 1 to 2. Plus the trades. Number 3, Luke Cage Power Man. Now, Luke Cage Hero for Hire was a fantastic run from 1972 all the way to 1978, 49 issues. It was renamed after issue 17 as Luke Cage Power Man. It was created by Archie Goodwin, George Tosca, Roy Thomas, and John Romita Sr. He was the first black superhero to be a protagonist in his own solo run, and that tells you something. It was a difficult time too. It was not an easy thing to do. Then the run, in this case, the comic book was changed to Power Man and Iron Fist and lasted from 1978 all the way to 1986, issue 50 all the way to issue 125. And you have artists like, and writers like Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Joe Duffy, Frank Miller, Kurt Busiek, Jim Owsley, M.D. Bright, and many others involved in the creation. I would say the book was never the most popular, but people really loved the character. Now, it was part of the blaxploitation of the time, but man, the book was good, and ultimately it was a controversial death when Iron Fist was killed. But believe me, the thing is this: the book was good, and it's something that is so iconic from the Bronze Age. In the 90s, the character was revived with Cage, the solo run that lasted between 1992 and 1993 with 20 issues, written by Mark McLaurin. And in that series, he destroys his old costume, gets new clothing, more modern for the 90s, and the run is good. I like it. The art was really good, so I recommend it. Then, of course, he was on the 1997 Heroes for Hire with John Strander and Pascal Ferry. That was the revival of the series, of course, with Power Man and Iron Fist. Then he was on the Max imprint in the 2002 with Brian Azzarello. It's more mature stuff with this run, but if you're into the more mature stuff, Brian Michael Bendis really did a lot with Cage. He really liked the character, so he included on the Alias of the Max imprint, Secret Wars. He was on the Pulse. He was on Daredevil. Everything he did during that time, the early 2000s and beyond, he always includes Cage. It seems like he really likes the character. Then, of course, because of the popularity of the character, he was part of the New Avengers on the between 2005 2010. And pretty much from that, he was involved there. So, you saw Luke Cage on Civil War, Secret Invasion, Dark Reign, Siege. And there was a run during that time, the Heroes for Hire 2006-2010. He was not involved there, but Iron Fist was there. But, he was busy with the Avengers, so it's not like he needed to be part of the Heroes for Hire. During the Heroic Age, also, he was again part of the New Avengers. He went into the Thunderbolts by Jeff Parker from issue 137 till the end to issue 175. He even became a leader on issue 144 of the team, so he was involved there. He was on the Mighty Avengers in 2013. With Al Ewing and Greg Land, Power Man and Iron Fist. There was a run in 2016-2017. Not a bad run by David F. Walker. You saw, again, Jessica Jones came back, and there were 3 volumes, 18 issues there with Brian Michael Bendis. And I'm telling you, the guy has been in so much stuff. He's always busy. He's been in so many different runs like Luke Cage Noir, New Avengers Luke Cage, exclamation point, Luke Cage 2017-2018 that lasted 10 issues. Marvel, Marvel Digital also did some Luke Cage run. I think all of that really started after the show on Netflix. The character became even more popular. Now, if you want to know more about the character, you want to read more stories of the character, then definitely there's a lot to read here. You have the Luke Cage Masterworks Volume 1 through 3. I recommend them. Or you can get the Luke Cage Epic Collection, Retribution. There's a missing second volume. We need a second volume to finish that part. But also you need to read Power Man and Iron Fist Epic Collection Volume 1 to 3. So that will give you all the insight you need. You also need to read the 90s stuff. So you read Luke Cage Second Chances Volume 1 to 2. You can read Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and the Heroes for Hire Volume 1 and 2. That's the second aspect of the 90s. I would recommend you, just for reference, to read Alias Omnibus or the 4 volumes of the original Max imprint. Also, Jessica Jones, The Pulse, the complete collection. He is definitely there. And of course, if you have seen Jessica Jones on Netflix, they took a lot of inspiration from the stories. or you can read the 3 volumes. Also, read the 3 volumes of the newest Jessica Jones series. All of this by Brian Michael Bendis. Let's not forget the New Avengers Omnibus or the Complete Collection by Brian Michael Bendis, Volume 1 to 7. You can read Civil War Omnibus, the Secret Invasion Omnibus. You can read the Thunderbolts. There's no omnibus as of yet of that part, but you can read the different collections. You got Cage, Shadowland, you got Violent Rejection, Fear Itself, The Great Escape, and Like Lighting. And you have to read the Mighty Avengers, Volume 1 to 3 from 2013 to 2014. And Power Man and Iron Fist, the 2016 run, Volume 1 to 3, if you want to know more about the characters. Number 2, Ororo Munroe, Storm. Man, I have to include Storm. You know, this girl has been everywhere in the X-Men universe, and she is so iconic. She was introduced in Giant Size X-Men #1 back in 1975, created by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum. And then, of course, she went into the Uncanny X-Men and by Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum, John Byrne, John Romita Jr. So many people have been involved with her all the way from issue 94, from the beginning, all the way to issue 544. So she's been with the Uncanny X-Men since 1975. All the way to 2011. She was on the Dark Phoenix saga. She was on the Days of Future Past. She was in God Loves, Man Kills. Fantastic stories. Then she was involved in the classic X-Men, lasting from 1986 to 1990, 44 issues, written by Chris Claremont again, Dave Cockrum, and John Byrne. In the 80s, she became the leader of the X-Men. She was on the Mutant Massacre, Fall of the Mutants, Inferno. And at the start of the 90s, she was the leader of the Yellow Team, and she was an important part of the book at relaunch. In that particular run of the X-Men, she was from 1991 all the way to 2007. She was at the center in so many stories. You got the Mutant Genesis, of course, that's the original collection, the original story arc, but then it goes into Fatal Attractions, an Onslaught. She was there too. The Age of Apocalypse. She was not really, I would say, a main character, but she was an important character as all the X-Men. And then you have X-Men Unlimited. That was a 50-issue run from 1993 to 2003. Also written by Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont was everywhere. Her first solo run was in 1996 by Warren Ellis and Terry Dodson, only 4 issues. But that was really the first time that she was written by herself. But in the 2000s, from the early 2000s all the way till now, she has been involved in so many different runs in the X-Men universe. She was on the Extreme X-Men, a really good run by Chris Claremont. 2001, 2003, lasted what, 46 issues, 1 annual. She was a prominent character on Black Panther and the 2005-2008 series, and then the 2008 and 2010 series. So she went into a lot of the events of the Civil War, Secret Invasion, alongside as the Queen of Wakanda. When Shuri became the Black Panther, she was involved there as well. Then she was on that solo run, Aurora Before the Storm, very good run, Storm, that really recounts and retells the story of the relationship between Black Panther, King T'Challa, well, T'Challa and Aurora when they were kids. She went into the Astonishing X-Men from issue 25 all the way till the end of the run. She was there. The X-Men, the run from 2010 to 2013 run. The all-new X-Men, the Uncanny X-Force. She was the leader of the team alongside Psylocke. Then the X-Men of the Marvel Now run. She was the leader of the all-female cast. And the girl has been everywhere since then. She's been in so much stuff. It's hard to recount and go through all of that. She was on Amazing X-Men in 2013, lasted for 19 issues. Then there was a solo run called Storm that lasted for 11 issues. Very good run, by the way. Extraordinary X-Men, 20 issues. She was the leader of the Extraordinary X-Men. The most modern X-Men run right now that's still ongoing. She's part of that too. If you really want to know more about her, there's so much that you have to read. It's unreal. But believe me, it's going to be worth it. You need to start with the Uncanny X-Men by Chris Claremont, volume 1 to 4 omnibuses. Those are the best way that you can read the original stories, the introduction of the character. You have the classic X-Men omnibus, the Mutant Massacre omnibus, the Fall of the Mutant omnibus, Inferno, the X-Men omnibus, volume 1 to 2. She's a big part of that. Fatal Attractions, the Age of Apocalypse, and the Companion Omnibus. For the most recent stuff, you need to read Extreme X-Men Volume 1 to 8, Black Panther, the Complete Collection by Reginald Hudlin, Volume 1 to 3, Black Panther Doom War. With the Marvel Now, read the Uncanny X-Force Volume 1 to 3, the X-Men Volume 1 to 5, Storm Volume 1 to 2, and the most recent Extraordinary X-Men Volume 1 to 4. And number 1, King T'Challa, Black Panther. How can we dismiss King T'Challa? How can we leave him at the end of the list? He needs to be at the top of the list because he is the most influential, the most important black superhero in comics. He was introduced on Fantastic Four number 52 and 53 back in 1966. So he was ahead of his time. You know, there was nothing else. You know, there were other black heroes in the past, but none like him. He guest appeared after that in different issues of Fantastic Four in annual number 5. And with Captain America and Tales of Suspense, and then Captain America number 100. And then he was invited to be part of the Avengers. So he went into the Avengers and he lasted from issue 52 all the way to 126. So that means 1968 all the way to 1974. During that time, he was written by Roy Thomas, Stephen Englehart, John Buscema did a lot of the art. Fantastic, Sal Buscema also did that. During this time, he made appearances in 3 issues of Daredevil, also fought Doctor Doom in Astonishing Tales 6 to 7. And he received his first starring feature comic book story with Jungle Action number 5, which was actually a reprint of Avengers 62 when he fought the Man-Ape. But then the follow-up was amazing. In Jungle Action, between issues 6 to 24, was written by Don McGregor, and use of the art of Rick Buckler, Bill Graham, Klaus Johnson, and Gil Kane. I'm telling you, the best story. Many consider what Panther's Rage. Many consider the first Marvel graphic novel, and it is amazing. It's one of my favorite stories of all time, and I believe that it's the best Marvel graphic novel of all time. Amazing. And of course, that was the foundation for the Black Panther film. Everything that Don McGregor did there. Not only he did Panther's Rage then, also he did the Panther versus the Klan. He was unable to finish that series there because there was a lot of controversy, even in the editorial of Marvel. People weren't happy with what he was saying. It was very political. You're talking about the early 70s. But I'm telling you, the run was good. It's terrific. Then, of course, Black Panther came back in 1977 and 1979 with the Jack Kirby run. Only lasted 15 issues. In this case, Jack Kirby only drew and did pretty much the stories of the first 12 issues. But I love the art. I think the Jungle Action was better, but the art of Jack Kirby is terrific there. So we need to keep it in pretty much in check. After that, of course, you have the Panther's Quest. That was the return of Don McGregor. And Panther's Quest is a terrific story, a continuation of Panther's Rage from pretty much Marvel Comics Presents issue 13 to 37. Gene Colan was doing the art, terrific art. Then in the 1990s, we got Panther's Prey. That was the 3rd chapter of Don McGregor with the art of Dwayne Turner. Then the character kind of slowed down a bit, but you saw, I think, one of the most iconic representations of the character, and one that a lot of people love, was in the Return of Black Panther Volume 3, 1998 all the way to 2003 by Christopher Priest. Many consider the best Black Panther stories. I prefer Don McGregor's writing, but Christopher Priest was different, and definitely he understood the spirit of you know, the African-American spirit in the character, and really push it hard, the more urban part of the character. And definitely very good. There's a lot of espionage. There's a lot of things that are really good on that run. Mark Texeira did the original art. Then you have Sal Velluto did a lot of it too. And there were a lot of artists, but really fantastic time. Then Black Panther Volume 4, that was 2005 all the way to 2008, lasted 41 issues by Reginald Hudlin. You saw the art of John Romita Jr. Jason Aaron did some of the writing in the end. But I'm telling you, fantastic comeback of this character in a very important time for Black Panther. Because during that time, you saw the events, of course, of the marriage with Storm, Civil War, the Initiative, Secret Invasion. So you saw all those big, important things that really are shaping the MCU, for example, right now. Black Panther Volume 5, also by Reginald Hudlin. He was so popular that he came back in 2008 and 2010 and did a 12-issue run. And this is when Shuri takes the mantle of the Black Panther. This was followed by the 6 issues of Doom War, which is also a great continuation of the story by Jonathan Mayberry and Scott Eaton. Also, you saw Captain America, Black Panther, Flags of Our Fathers. That was a mini-series by Reginald Hudlin and Dennis Cowan. Black Panther, the man without fear. That's interesting. That's when Black Panther becomes actually the protector of Hell's Kitchen by the request of Daredevil after the events of Shadowland. And it's really good. So technically the book changed name. Instead of saying Daredevil, the man without fear, it became Black Panther, the man without fear. Issue 513 to issue 529, written by David Liss, and many artists were involved there. But we cannot put aside one of the best chapters, I think, that's still ongoing in the Black Panther mythos is the writing of Ta-Nehisi Coates. Ta-Nehisi has done terrific, fantastic writer, and he started with the Black Panther and the run of the 2016 run that lasted 18 issues until the number was changed from issue 166 all the way to 172. There's an annual as well. The run has been good, and I've been reading it, and I'm telling you, it's really good. And then, of course, we have also The World of Wakanda, a 6-issue miniseries. Black Panther and the Crew, also another 6-issue miniseries. You have The Rise of Black Panther. Those are collaborations with other writers. But he's also been working on the newest run, the one that's still ongoing, the Black Panther that started in 2018. And so far we have 22 issues. I'm telling you, Ta-Nehisi knows what he's doing. I really like the writing. I love the philosophical aspect of he gives to the character and the stories around the character. There's so much you can read in order to get really in shape with the character. But I'm telling you, you need to start first with the Black Panther Epic Collection, Panther's Rage and Revenge of the Panther. You need to start with them. You can also read Black Panther Masterworks Volume 1 to 2. Unfortunately, the Masterworks doesn't have the introduction of the character, but the Epic Collections do. So I recommend the Epic Collections over the Masterworks. Now, you also, if you want to know more about the character within the Avengers universe, then of course you need to read Avengers Omnibus Volume 2 to Volume 4. We need a Volume 5 so we can get the last series, or the last part where he was involved with the team. Or you can read the Masterworks Volume 6 to 13. That will have the complete story. Now, for the 80s stuff, then you need to go to Black Panther's Panther's Quest and Panther's Prey. I highly recommend them. Now, for the most recent stuff, you need to start with Black Panther by Christopher Priest, Complete Collection, Volume 1 to 4. Unfortunately, we don't have an omnibus. We need them. We need the omnibus. It's going to be probably 2 volumes, but start with the Complete Collection. It is a must. Then you move into Black Panther by Reginald Hudlin, Complete Collection, Volume 1 to 3. Then Black Panther, The Man Without Fear, the Complete Collection. Then you move into Black Panther by Ta-Nehisi Coates, Collection Volume 1 to 3. We need a continuation, so we need a Volume 4 and perhaps a Volume 5. Or if you don't have, of course, the Volume 4 or 5, then we can read World of Wakanda, Black Panther and the Crew, and The Rise of the Black Panther. Those will kind of give you the insight into the most recent stuff that go alongside the other volumes. There's so many black superheroes in comics, so many. But only a few have been able to capture the imagination of many comic book readers over the years. And on this list, I included those what I consider at the top of the list. And they are terrific. And I really love what, these characters offer, and they have offered throughout the years. So this is my list. What is your list? Are you a fan of this list? Do you agree with this, the way I position these characters? Or do you have a different list? Share that with me in the comments below. If I missed someone, just let me know. So my friends, once again, thanks for watching. God bless, take care, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.